designers feel that the creative process has become quite sterile. Like UX has sort of taken away the kind of the creativeness of it. So before, a designer would go to art college, and everything about that was, the creative process was coming internally, but now everything seems to be validated, and everything seems to be like very sterile, and the way we create things is all about replicating the same user experience patterns and UI elements. And it feels like the validation part has taken away what it means to be creative.
Like from developer perspective, I must say data is very helpful. So I personally like it. I like to, have hard proof that what I'm working on or the decisions I'm making are having the right impact on the user experience, on the app I'm building, or on the look and feel. But I can totally see where you're coming from when it comes to the creative process. For example, it's quite important and easy to measure stuff that is already out there to figure out if this decision was right or wrong, but it's very hard to start with data, to start the process of creating something new from hard facts. You need this ingenuity that you put into the app in the first place. For example, when I create some reference app, I want to showcase some technology or some new way of solving technological problem, but it's a front-end app, so I need to make it look and feel nice at the same time, and I stand in this blank canvas, and then I pray to have some creative designer next to me, coming in with his ingenuity, rather than just, getting my data and following the data flow.
I mean, it does feel a bit like a chicken and egg situation. What comes first? The creative step of just discovery?
I actually like to think about it as a sandwich, rather than chicken and egg. It's like, you have some bread and then some filling and then some bread again. So I think it all starts with kind of creative process by designer or by some, creative person that is working on a given product to have this starting idea. And then you get data and user testing and all this, heavy weaponry for polishing the original idea so that it's the best you can get. But then at the top, you still need this touch of ingenuity, Like when I think about different visual frameworks on the web, they kind of stop at this second layer. They took the initial idea, they applied a lot of data to make it as nice and to use and as usable and as browser-friendly, environment-friendly, whatever you need, and they stop there. But then the design needs to take such a visual framework and touch this something unique, that to make a given app or product outstanding. And sometimes I think we stop at this data level and we don't go through this extra step of adding some more art on top of it to make it extraordinary.
Amazing. I mean, I've never really thought of that. It always feels like one comes before the other. And I know a lot of working environments do feel like a factory in that respect, that I draw the picture, then a developer might implement the picture, and then I take it back and say, could you change the color back? And but I suppose it's about finding a process where both can really feel like they're making a sandwich together in a kitchen rather than it being a conveyor belt.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to when the agile methodologies entered the software world, where you go through different iterations of the creative process. And I agree, when there was the situation where first you get a design out and then you give it to developers to implement it, and that's it, it's very stressful for both sides because developers feel stressed that the design is not really implementable, to be honest, like it's not compatible with the technology. And then designers are angry because, developers changed their design and now it's not as pretty as it was before. So I think it's all about making it more iterative and more collaborative, and then it takes the stress out of both parties. And I know there's some tension on the line every now and then, but to be honest, I really like working with designers. There's this app I worked on in December last year. It's Santa Tracker. It's a Google app that kind of tracks the steps of the Santa Claus throughout December up to the culmination day where he goes around the world, and gives the presents. And there's a lot of apps you can play in that experience throughout whole December. And I was developing this app where a little elf is going through a maze, is navigating a maze, finding presents. And you can look And you see the elf from the top, so it's pretty much just a red dot with a little pointy hat, kind of. And my task was to make it jump through obstacles. And I was totally stuck, you know, because you look from above and it's just this red dot that is ahead. How you make it jump? Like you don't see legs, you don't see arms. I was stuck. I implemented all the technological part to it in 2 days. And then for next 2 weeks, I was like blank, how to make it look right. And then I asked for designer help. And within a very short time, he came up with the idea that, you know, if you make the dot bigger and they're smaller, it looks like, you know, it's like floating in the air and then falling down. I was like, this is so brilliant. And I never thought about it. Like you really need to trust in your competencies, you know, and ask for help when you need it.
And what I'd love for us to do is to end up in a world where we have language and ideas that are native to the web itself, that embrace the fact that the web is hypertext, not just another way to build native apps.